Recording in progress. Hello,
Hello.
hello. Welcome to PTZOptics Live. My name's John Roberts. I'm joined by Paul and Josh from our product team. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. Welcome to PTZ Optics Live, everyone.
And how are you
Doing good.
doing, Josh? We don't have our product guys on the team very often, but we're trying to do it more. We're trying to engage with you person to person and have you, step in front of our amazing audience of end users. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on the show today.
It's great to have you. We have a lot to talk about today. We're talking about a brand new PTZ Optics camera, the SimplTrack3 that I have right here in front of me. But Paul, we have some live show squares that we need to get to, don't we?
Yeah, and welcome everyone. Let us know where you are joining from in the chat. We love to hear where everyone is from and get to know you a little better. So thank you for joining everyone who's here. I see TSG from Waco, Texas. We have Timo Sund from Finland. And I'm going to be keeping my eye on the chat today because John is going to do the awesome presentation. So I can't wait. And by the way, ask your technical questions if you have them. Don't hold back because Josh is here. And I think he has some really interesting things to say today and tell us about what the product team is up to. All right. Here we go. Look at that PTZ pan tilt. Really, really good news about Hive Linked. Hive, of course, is our new remote production, video production software. It allows you to control your PTZ cameras from anywhere in the world. And right now, we have the firmware that allows you to connect your camera directly to Hive without a computer. Now, essentially, Hive works with over 400 PTZ cameras. So you can use Sony, you can use Panasonic, you can use Canon cameras. But we have worked with Josh and our product team to build Hive directly into the camera so that you can log into your Hive account in the camera, connect it to Hive, disconnect it, and ship it anywhere you want. And as soon as that camera is plugged in and boots up, it will be able to be controlled remotely via the cloud. We feel like that's a really big deal. You got to try it. You got to see it to believe it. And now this beta firmware is available on the Move SE, the Move 4K, and the Studio 4K, and the Link 4K. So, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but every camera except the SimplTrack3.
That is correct. And the SimplTrack3 is coming soon.
So this is a really big deal. To get this firmware, it's in beta. So to get this firmware, you have to sign up to be a beta tester. And there's just a few steps. You have to sign up and you get into the Discord channel, which is awesome because the product team is in there and they're answering questions. We're a really customer-centric company. So we're listening to you guys and we have this Discord channel so you can talk directly to the engineers to give them your feedback. When things are in beta, that means there might be a few bugs, but honestly, the way I see you guys really spending so much time on this, would you say it's 99% bug-free or there might be some in there, we're just not sure?
We try to make it a point to release a full production version in beta. Obviously, we can't catch every single bug that comes up, but we're trying to catch as much as we can. So please visit the beta group, test out your Hive Linked cameras, any bugs and features that release later on down the road for any of the products. If you join it, there's your avenue to test and give direct feedback to us so that we can hear your voice and make those changes as needed.
Amazing. Hi, let me just do this real quick, Mike. Hi, Cassandra, coming in from Rocky Mountain, Colorado. We've got Jesper coming in from Denmark. And we have B. Rams from Madison, Wisconsin. So keep letting us know where you are calling in from. It's always so fun to be connected with everybody. All right. Time to move on. Now, the SimplTrack3 is a very interesting camera because it has two sensors. So it's really a two-in-one camera, and we're going to be looking at that technology today. It's a smart camera in the sense that you can use that wide-angle reference camera, it's the small one in the base of the camera, to trigger events and automate your spaces. So whether you're in a conference room, a training space, a stage environment, we're going to show you how it's superior to single lens auto tracking. A lot of auto tracking cameras that have a single lens can track a subject, and they can lock onto a specific subject, which is great. But they don't have the reference lens, which allows us to add a lot of logic, specifically for education, where you can, if a teacher's at the whiteboard, we don't need to follow her left and right the whole time. That's distracting. When they're at the presentation space, we can actually frame it up. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the dual sensor part, Josh.
So yes, the big power of having a dual lens camera with this reference view is with the Move 4Ks and the Move SEs and the links. When tracking's being done, it's only in the reference of what it can see. With the SimplTrack3, what it can see versus what it can't see on that wide view, or I guess what it can see on the wide view, that determines all these other automations that it can achieve, from preset triggering to doing custom commands, calling custom presets. It's advanced in that form where it doesn't always have to see what it can track later on.
That's awesome. Ketty's coming in from Long Island, New York. Hi, Ketty. All right, here we go. Keep moving. And then John's really going to dig into the details here. He's got an awesome presentation. We wanted to remind you to update your firmware. We email out our customers often about the firmware updates, but you know how emails are, Josh. Not everybody gets them.
That is correct.
So we're here on the live stream reminding everyone. Josh and his team has done a great job of putting into the PTZOptics web interface a little button. You can click a button, check for a firmware update, and you've made the process of updating quite easy, right?
Correct. So yes, we have a firmware server built into the cameras. You go there, you click check for firmware. It's going to notify you whether there's a new firmware available to download or not. If there is, it should download directly to your PC, and then you upload it to the camera, and that's the firmware process.
Beautiful. Is there anything specific that you're proud of that you guys have released, or is there a lot of bug fixes? Is there new updates that we should know about?
So we should have a new update available tomorrow for the SimplTrack3, 1.0.81. That includes, and because this is very new to the market, it's a lot of feedback from customers, bug fixes, some web UI movements. Nothing advanced as far as feature sets go, but we are working towards that goal every day that we work on this camera.
Yeah, I think the overarching kind of thing that to note is that when you buy a PTZOptics camera, it's continually being updated and upgraded. And if you've bought a camera from us from any time in the past decade, over the years, we added NDI support, right? And that was just a firmware upgrade. Sometimes it includes a license upgrade. But we added auto tracking to the Move SE. I mean, we've added so many features. We've added auto framing. There's been a lot of feedback. Dynamic zoom for the Move 4K was a huge one, allowing our customers to not just automatically track and lock into a subject, but control the zoom and the framing. You guys have done so much, and all of those features we make available for free to our customers via firmware updates. So don't forget to update your firmware and check out all those new features you're going to get. All right, and we have a giveaway today at the end of our show. We're going to have a crowd purr trivia, and whoever wins the crowd purr trivia is going to win a PTZOptics Hive license. So that's going to be awesome. Super excited about that. So join the trivia today, and that will be someone's going to win. So really excited about that. Now, really quickly, we're going to show the behind the scenes look at how this studio is set up. I wish, I always get a lot of feedback. People are always asking, how do you do this multi-camera production? What's happening here is you're hearing Josh, myself, and John through Shure SM7B cardioid microphones. These are really nice microphones. We have 4 of them in our studio, and they connect to a PreSonus Studio Live rack-mounted audio mixer. I really like this audio mixer. We've used some other ones in the past, John, like the Rodecaster.
Yeah.
That thing was not built professionally, by the way. It broke multiple times.
Yes,
I had to
it did.
replace it once. So I feel like the PreSonus is a big step up, and especially having it rack-mounted.
This whole web interface too.
The whole web interface. There's a remote control capabilities for remote audio mixing.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the control side, we're using 3 different controllers. We're using the Stream Deck. We love our Stream Deck. In fact, Josh and his team built a plugin for the Stream
Just gonna
Deck.
say, I hope you're using the PTZOptics plugin for that.
We are. And so that plugin allows you to directly control multiple PTZ cameras in your studio. So Mike uses that, but he also likes to have the SuperJoy. He likes to have the SuperJoy to just control the cameras. In fact, John's got a SuperJoy on his desk. So we like to have the tactile control of a PTZ camera as well, along with PTZOptics Hive. Now, what we do with Hive is we make all the cameras available in this studio available to you guys, available to our audience, available to other people on our team so that we can dial in the color correction remotely. People can control our PTZ cameras using Hive. We're using the PTZOptics SimplTrack3, the PTZOptics Move 4K cameras, and a Studio 4K. So maybe we can call out when we're using which, so the audience can kind of see the look and the feel. We're running vMix on a AMD Ryzen 5595X processor with a NVIDIA 550. So we got the new one installed. That's the latest and greatest NVIDIA graphics card. NVIDIA is now the most valuable company in the world by a long shot. But it's a nice computer. It's a Windows computer. It's running vMix. It's also hosting vMix Social. So I can click a button on this little tablet I have and show your comments on the live stream. Of course, we've got Mike, our producer, who's putting this all together for you, sending a 1080p 30 frames per second stream to YouTube. And then we are restreaming to Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm guessing a few other social media destinations as well. So that's how the show is set up. I'll let you take it away from there, John.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's talk about our beautiful SimplTrack3 here. So as you can see, this is the dual lens as Paul was mentioning. Here's our smaller, what we call the reference lens right next to the NDI logo. It's a 720p reference lens that'll give you a wide angle view of your whole space. And then of course our 20x barrel lens. You want to note, this is only 20x. You might be used to the PTZOptics line of cameras like the Move SE. That is a 20x, 12x, and a 30x. But the SimplTrack3 only comes in 20x. So as you can see, I'll review all of our individual ports. But of course, we have our HDMI, USB, there's SDI, you have PoE for NDI as well, and your old school serial ports as well. Alrighty, so Mike, let's jump over to my slides here where we can talk a little bit more about the SimplTrack3. Of course, we won recently at Infocom Best in Show, so that was a big honor. Thank you so much to everyone that attended Infocom. It was great to see some of you great folks out there. But let's talk about it. So this is a camera that I like to look at as very easy to use. It's plug and play. You can open this up, you can turn on auto tracking, and you can just put it in the back of a conference room or a classroom, and it will track your subject, your teacher, your lecturer very well. It's very impressive. It also comes with auto tracking, like I just mentioned, and auto framing, so you can frame multiple subjects in one location. And then, of course, it includes those two lenses, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about why those are so important. So when you think about the SimplTrack3, think about large conferences, lecture halls, and stage productions. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the lens options here. So we have the 20x lens here for the PTZ. Like it says here, 270-degree rotation. And then we have our reference lens as well, which is 59 degrees. So it's a very wide angle lens. You'll see a bunch of different clips, and then we'll do some live demos here later on. Of course, it includes PoE as well. So you can just connect this with one cable, power it, and control it all over your network via NDI. Of course, you can track up to 55 feet, which will show probably about 25 feet tracking in our location here now. And we'll get deep into zone management and everything that you might need for customizing this solution for you. So, Josh, I want to throw it over to you because I want to talk a little bit about the dual lens
Can I jump
system.
before you do that? Let me jump back to that slide
absolutely.
and make two comments I have here. For those of you looking for the slower movement speeds and always requesting, because that's something we hear often, the SimplTrack3 rotation can do a 0.1 degrees per second.
Wow.
Versus some of our other cameras that do 0.5. And this is important because those that want that really slow movement speed, even if you're not using it for its full AI capabilities, just a joystick controller can really get a nice smooth movement. And I think that's really impressive coming out of this camera.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You'll notice that when you use our SuperJoy hardware controller. I've noticed that. I literally said that to Mike before we started when I was using it in Hive, of how smooth the movements were. I was very, very impressed by that, and I could really see a difference.
And another caveat to this slide too. So the reference lens can see up to 55 feet. In certain
You
settings,
can track way beyond.
you can track beyond. So if the PTZ head has captured you, and in the right setting, you can track as far as that camera can follow you.
Okay.
So that's really important to understand, that there isn't all these limitations to distances anymore. It's the same as the Move and Lynx. If it can see you, it can track you.
That's great. I love it. If it can see you, it can track you. Marketing expert Josh over here. Now, I love that. I'm going to steal that now every time I talk about the SimplTrack3. So let's talk about the dual lens technology and why it's so important. And we can really see in this graphic how wide of an angle it really is. So we went to Immaculata, which is a great university near us here in Pennsylvania. And we wanted to show off how this could be used for a large presentation space, whether it's for a stage production or if it's just speaking to classroom, or beyond, speaking to a larger auditorium. So you can see that we have it very zoomed in. We were probably about, to Josh's point, over 100 feet, maybe even close to 150 feet away from the stage where we currently were. We had a bunch of different Move 4K cameras set up so we could mess around with different preset options and get into the different zone management we'll talk about. And that's the rectangle that you're seeing on the right side on the reference lens. Is all of our different zones. The blue zone is our preset zone, the green is our tracking zone, and the red is our blocking zone. So Josh, tell me a little bit about the value. I like to call it stage awareness, because your camera can only see, or most PTZ cameras can only see what the barrel lens, the main lens, is seeing. But with the reference lens, that's where it really opens it up. It's like two brains in one, right?
Absolutely. And I think stage awareness is a great terminology for this camera. The reference lens providing that very wide shot. As you can see in the slideshow here, we're following the subject, but John's sitting there in the reference view in the chair, ready to be queued up next, or the next person can be ready to be queued up next as somebody exits the stage. And again, stage awareness is a very appropriate term, and that really shows the power of a dual lens camera, where a single lens camera can only track the person that it can see actively.
So like I said, you can set and forget this. You can turn on auto tracking and walk away. But if you really want to get nitty gritty, you want to dig into these zones and you really want to mess around with the web interface. And we'll get into that in some live demos after we review all these individual zones. But you have your tracking zone, which is pretty straightforward. You set that up for where you want to track in your frame. Your presets, which will not only be for your camera presets, but this is going beyond just your standard PTZ camera presets. This is starting to automate other devices in your environment, whether it's lights. We're going to demonstrate how you can control even one of our Move 4K cameras so that you could really create a full production with multi-cameras and have this as the center or the brain and the hub of your production. And then, of course, as you saw in that last demonstration, a blocking zone as well. So you'll see in further demonstrations how those will be used as well. So the tracking zone, very simple. You're going to set this up directly where you want, or the main subject might be tracked. You can also turn this camera on in the web interface to track outside of this zone or outside of your PTZ view. And yeah, Josh, am I missing anything beyond the tracking zone? It's very straightforward.
Yeah, so just a quick overview. There's a option in settings that's track outside reference view. If that is enabled, this camera will use its PTZ lens to track you wherever you move in the space that available. So 170-degree field of view, or pan view. If that's disabled and you draw a zone, the tracking zone as shown in the description here, it'll track with inside that box and only that box, setting boundaries for its tracking reference. If you don't set the tracking zone, it will track everywhere inside the entire reference picture. And you can balance between these two options, or all three options, to really get an advanced camera production.
Absolutely.
There's a question really quickly that I wanted to share from Silara Tech. Thank you guys. Keep the questions coming in. Can you slow down that return to home that we're seeing here, where she walks all the way to the left, she goes into that preset zone, and the camera is moving fairly quickly to the center? Can we control the speed at which the presets move?
Let me think about that one. I don't know if I've even tested that out to
Might be a
slow
good
things
feature
down.
request.
Absolutely. We can slow down the amount of time it takes for that to be called or released from call or target loss. So that might be able to help with what you're getting at. But the ability to have the amount of time when you walk into the zone to the time it's triggered, that's an interesting idea.
I think the question is actually the movement of the preset gets called and it moves so quickly. Can we slow down the pan movement of the camera?
Oh, okay, I understand. It hasn't come up yet, but that's a good.
I'm so glad you're
good
here,
thing to
Josh, because we're getting direct feedback from the customers here. That does make sense because you see how it's like a switch.
It's very
moved over
fast. Yeah.
fast.
I wonder if it's the current set presets or the current set speed that you have your pan tilt set to.
Yeah, I will absolutely have to test that out and come up with a much better response than I just have for it.
Because you can, of course, adjust all the auto tracking settings. You can adjust that to increase the speed of the PT movements. But yeah, this is specifically a recall command or a loss command. So when the target is lost or they move out of that zone, it'll revert to the previous location that you selected. So whether it's a preset or if it's to your home location that the camera is kind of assigned. So we'll talk about that when we show the web interface and the demo. We'll just go through these zones really quickly. So the blocking zone, you can see this demonstration. I'm sitting in a chair here. If I were to get up out of the blocking zone, it would immediately start. You could either switch to me, or if she was out of the zone, it would switch directly to track me. So this is used if you are in a conference room and maybe you have windows in the background or you have a doorway where someone might walk by really quickly. You'll see that in our environment here, we have it for a TV screen. So for instance, if you have a Zoom event on or just a bunch of people in a Zoom meeting, they won't get taken over or starting to get tracked. So we also have the preset zone, and this is where it gets really, really exciting. These are the blue rectangles that you see all across the square or all across your reference view here on the right side. So you can easily turn off all of these zones. I want to mention that as well. At a click of a button, you can remove them all. And you can actually use both the PTZ view and the reference view as NDI feeds as well. I want to mention that. But let's talk about these preset zones. So it uses an HTTP trigger to activate of any sort of activation, whether it's to turn a light on. As you can see, as soon as she walks into that P2 stage, that zone, that last zone, it triggers not only a preset of the camera to go back to the podium, but also dims the light via HTTP command. So this is kind of opens it up to everything. You'll see that we are going to activate a Move 4K later on. But Josh, are there any other ideas that you can think of using these triggers or these commands for the preset zones?
Well, so it's not just limited to HTTP. Just want to make that clear.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ability for HTTP get and post commands to be called. So if you have an API that supports those, feel free to use that. We also support UDP and TCP commands over Visca. So you can really control, especially go into our PTZOptics website and pulling our API commands up. You can control a lot of our cameras with independent controls when you step into these zones or exit these zones. Additionally, some of the workflows that I've used that I really enjoy is pairing this with vMix. So vMix will allow you to pull an API command and switch scenes. Mm-hmm. So with the power of that, you could make one camera switch a scene when you enter into the zone, and then allow vMix to control that camera to a preset position as well. And you can get really complex or very simplistic depending on what your workflow needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a question coming in that is similar to what you said. I'll just read this to you, Josh. Yeah. The question is, will we have an API? We program our control and automation systems using their APIs. So using the Shure MXA920 microphone and this new camera, we can do some interesting things. We have used the Move SC camera. So you mentioned how we can tap into other programs' APIs. Yes. Does this product have an API?
This product does have an API. It is not readily available yet. We're working on getting it released. as we flush out some of these bugs that we've been working on.
Okay.
But it will be released soon, and you'll be able to find that under our resources section on the PTZOptics website.
And out of the box, the camera can send commands to interact with all kinds of APIs.
Correct.
But the API for this camera is not released yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Alrighty, so think of just endless amount of possibilities. The way I like to talk about it is a hands-free solution. So you could, much like a Crestron or QSYS, set up a room with the SimplTrack, whether it's a lecture space or a meeting room, boardroom, whatever it may be, and have these presets all triggered, whether it's with OBS or vMix to trigger other cameras, or whether you're starting to integrate it with even like a switcher like vMix or OBS, where you can kind of really take it and go beyond with integrating it with light control and even commanding other cameras. So it's a lot of things that you can do with this, but I want to keep moving on so we can get to the demos. One of the last cool things about the SimplTrack, you can use gesture controls. So at the raise of a hand, as you can see Mike and I demonstrating here, as soon as you raise your hand above your elbows, just like he demonstrates, it switches the camera over to this speaker. So you have the ability to obviously switch between speakers that are in the PTZ view or the reference view with the web interface, but this is just giving you a simple movement that you can perform as a speaker in front of the camera to easily switch the speaker.
Wow.
So I love this. I love that we're getting into gesture control. This is really, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, like the first time as PTZOptics has really offered any sort of gesture control, right?
Absolutely. This is a proud moment of ours to bring this image recognition to the camera and allow it to react based on it. Currently, we only offer the one, but we're going to be building upon that later on as we gain more growth with this camera and hear more feedback from our audience and see what is really needed.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why we call it like an intelligent camera or a smart camera, because it's doing some things that we as a company have never done, and we're really excited to get this in your hands to really start to mess around with. Is that a question for us, Paul?
Yes, there is a couple rolling in here. We have. Oh, it's from Zoom. Okay, this is from Zoom. Does having the wide angle camera offset from under the lens make a difference in how it tracks?
So what you'll find during our setup process, and maybe it's even in your slide deck, John, even though the reference lens is off center from the body of the camera, there is a calibration tool built into the web interface. So if ever there is a moment where you're having a little difficulty with the reference lens and the PTZ head aligning with each other, you run this quick little easy tool, recalibrate, and move on.
And that's found directly in the web interface, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Here comes another one. Are your cameras TAA compliant? I know that we are NDAA compliant.
Correct. Right now we are not TAA compliant.
Okay, that's something we're working on.
Yes.
Alrighty, if that's it for the questions for now, I have a couple more slides. I just want to announce very soon, hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to have the SimplTrack3 Hive linked. So that means you can take it anywhere from that initial connection. You don't need a computer. You can use and control your camera remotely from anywhere once it's Hive linked. And remember, that's only the PTZOptics cameras, but Hive Link supports over 400 make and model of cameras. So we'll give you a little tour of Hive in just a moment here. But I want to keep going to just thank you guys. And if you guys want to learn more about the SimplTrack3, you can go to ptzoptics.com/SimplTrack3. So that'll give you some more information if you want to look into the nitty-gritty of the specs. But I think it's time to hop over to our web interface of our SimplTrack3.
Nice.
So as you can see, there's a lot happening. It might be very overwhelming at
Do you want
first.
me to walk in there? Or
Yeah, might as well. So you can
Okay.
already see I have auto tracking already turned on here. So I want to show this is really how you can perform completely hands-free. So you'll see Paul is getting his mic. He's staying on the edge. As soon as he steps into that green square, it's immediately going to start tracking him. So we also have a preset zone triggered right where he is by the whiteboard. So if someone wants to go to the whiteboard, it'll lock in so you can read their writing clearly. If he walks over to the other side, that's why we have a blocking zone on the TV in case the camera catches the TV screen at all.
Oh, does it track me outside of this box? We have
Depends on
that
what
set up?
settings set on.
Yeah, it depends what the camera's currently set on. So you currently left the reference view, so it's going to reset and perform a recall action. And here are some of those settings here. So Paul is currently stepping into the other preset zone that we've created. So Paul, if you could walk back to the stage here, I want to have Mike trigger that preset zone to show exactly what that's doing with a Move 4K. So Mike, if you could show that picture-in-picture there with our web interface and the Move 4K. So before you walk to the podium, I want to explain what's going to happen. So as you can see on the left side there, that's our web interface for the SimplTrack3. We have a preset zone created directly on that podium. So what Mike's doing is he's controlling a whole separate camera. That's a Move 4K, one of our 4K 60 FPS cameras. And as soon as Paul steps into the podium, it's going to trigger a preset for that Move 4K. So you'll see how the SimplTrack3 is now tracking Paul immediately. He's stepping into the whiteboard zone where it locks in. He steps directly to the podium where it will adjust his preset directly. So now think about this. When you have 4, 5, 6 different cameras in one room, this could be for lecturing, for your whole corporate company to have amazing demonstrations. We just had the State of the Union today. Imagine if we were using this technology to show off our State of the Union. It's completely hands-free. Like I said, like we've set this up. I'm not touching anything. The producer in the back, he's switching our cameras right now. So I just really wanted to show just how hands-free this can really be. And even if you just keep auto tracking on, we've kept it on all day. As soon as we step into the room, it'll pick you up and it'll immediately start tracking you. And there you can see the preset again with Paul there.
I'm seeing a ton of questions over here. I don't know if this mic is on, by the way. It's on. Wonderful. So there's a whole bunch of questions over here I'm going to read off.
Yeah, let's do it while you're demonstrating.
I just noticed they're right here on this television that I'm standing by. Gesture control is very cool. However, is there a way to turn it off because he foresees that being a potential problem with dance?
Yes. So gesture control is off by default on the camera. It's sitting in the system settings to be manually turned on when you would like it.
Mike, if you show my screen here, it'll show the web interface where you can see. So there's many different ways to navigate the web interface, and we can kind of break it all down. But under the automation tab, this is where you'll see both views of your cameras, where you can add and adjust these different zones. And here is where you can turn tracking gesture control on and off. So that makes it really easy. It, like Josh said, comes on or is turned off automatically for when you open the camera.
Can you turn on the tracking outside the frame?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested in seeing that.
So we're going to turn on auto tracking for outside of the frame. We're going to hit apply. And we'll go back to the control section here so you can see exactly where Paul will be tracked now.
One thing I wanted to show was you can see the auto tracking following me, which is great. But what we've had so many customers ask for is they want an auto tracking camera in their classroom, but it's easier for the students to read the notes on the board if the camera's not moving all the time.
Yep.
So we created a preset here around this whiteboard so we could show, I'll just write preset zone. So we've got a preset zone here. And look at how easy that is for someone to read. It's pretty easy. And then if I move out of this zone, it's going to continue, it's going to pick me up for tracking again. So that's something that I think is important to note here.
Mike, could we just show the direct output from SimplTrack3?
All right, so he's going to pull that up. I'm just going to ask, I got a couple more questions here coming in. Can the SimplTrack be changed by the SuperJoy? I mean, he sees that the settings can be controlled by the web UI. Can the SuperJoy controller control the SimplTrack3?
Absolutely. Yes, the SuperJoy controller can be set up to control the SimplTrack3 the same way it can with all of our other cameras. Same idea also with the custom command buttons. When we do release an official API, that'll be available to trigger auto tracking on, auto tracking off, things of that nature.
All right, cool. Is this capable of tracking multiple participants, of integrating any information from large microphone arrays? This looks like great tracking for single users on stage, but what about a large meeting space? Can it detect a talking face, for instance? So I think he's more talking about audio tracking, audio.
All right, so that one's a little more complicated, and especially the very last part of that that question. So no, the camera cannot track whether you're speaking or not directly. If you pair this with one of our Move or Link 4K cameras and using the Horizon Beta software that we have available, you can enable voice tracking. Through voice tracking and a third-party microphone or switcher, you then can bring in the SimplTrack3 as one of your secondary cameras and use that to preset recall.
Got it. So we have some information out there about voice tracking. So you can go to PTZOptics.com/voice-tracking, I believe is the URL. It's not on the menu yet.
Just
Slash voice will get you there.
Voice?
Yep.
Okay, and you can learn more about that. It's available in beta for the Move 4K cameras.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, cool. A couple more questions coming in. You can use, okay, let's see what else is coming in here. Auto tracking is being demoed. The camera also supports auto framing.
This is correct. Yes. So this camera can either do auto tracking or auto framing. Through the system settings, you can enable auto framing. It does require a camera reboot, but then it turns into a framing camera versus an auto tracking camera.
Awesome. Another question coming in, can you output 2 discrete NDI feeds for each of the cameras?
So you are able to output over NDI. Prime example is Studio Monitor. If you go in there, you will find under PTZOptics the PTZ lens and the reference lens, and you'll be able to switch between those in there. It's also a prime example that we are using with Hive, which I think we're going to be showing off a little later.
Yep.
But yes, you are able to bring in the reference stream and the PTZ stream.
All right, got 2 more questions for you. Can you offset the tracking so the subject's head isn't placed center of the camera?
So you are able to set on the main web interface, or on the tracking section of the interface, there is a stage preset set and a subject preset set. Using the subject preset set, that'll kind of set your compositions that you're looking for. So you can adjust head height, zoom level, a little bit left and right compositions.
Beautiful. Last question, and then I saw John's ready to bring up Hive. Can any old PTZOptics camera be updated with the SimplTrack3?
No, you cannot. So currently we are working to enable the predecessor, the HuddleCam HD SimplTrack3s with a firmware. That should be released very soon. That'll bring this web UI to them, but only the SimplTrack3 line between the 2 brands will be able to have this update.
All right. So I think John was ready to pull up sorry, Josh.
Trying to kill me over here.
Pull up the PTZOptics Hive, because we're showing how, then to me, this camera is a really awesome remote production camera, because it's the only 2-in-1 camera we offer, where you can have a wide angle view of your entire space and a zoomed in view that you're likely going to want to use for your close-ups and your production. So why don't you show that off to us, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. So first I want to say that if you are adding it, it's currently not Hive linked. Hopefully we get that in about a month or so. That's going to be very exciting, so you can kind of take it anywhere once you connect it once. So you also want to make sure that you're matching the net protocol in Hive and what your web interface is currently listed as. So you want to make sure that it's matching TCP, or if you're using UDP, you want to make sure it's matching that directly. Otherwise, you won't be able to add it into Hive. So let's go back to show the main interface here. And I want to show, here's our standard, our 20x barrel lens, where we can easily move. You can see really just how slow you can move this camera. And if you see any shake or anything, it's because we have it mounted on a tripod currently. We can also see the difference between the wide angle reference lens and the main barrel lens. You can actually control both of those. So if you can integrate that via NDI, you want to bring it into OBS. You can even create like a picture-in-picture to show off both lenses at the same time. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. And then, of course, you're getting the standard greatness that comes from Hive Studio. So whether it's these awesome, incredible tools, like I love the cinematic frame, or click to center is one of my favorites as well. Cinematic frame probably is my favorite tool of Hive Studio, where you can click and it controls every pan, tilt, and zoom motion all at once. You can, of course, use your hand like a joystick or a controller. That's always a great time. as soon as you share this product with people, it really gets them excited and it gets people to jump in and get their hands on the
Let
controller.
us know if you'd like to have access to Hive, because John
Absolutely.
can just click that share button right there.
Yep.
And we can create a link and literally share access with you guys, and you can control these cameras in our studio. That's what Hive is all about.
It's absolutely terrifying working in this room off hours when you know everyone in the world could potentially be watching you.
Well, keep in mind that security is really important. Now, our live stream viewers get special access for watching
Yes,
our
they do.
stream, and we give you, if someone raises their hand and say, yes, I would like to try this, then we will share access with you. But there is a lot of security in here. So there is, we require strong passwords. You must be invited to get in. It's not like the whole world has access to these.
Two-factor authentication is included in Hive as well. You can even set expiring access as well, or even, as you can see here on the screen, delete this entire link. So if you want to copy this link and then you're forgetting who you send it to or for how long, you can just delete it and it'll create a new link that you can share directly. So Paul, I just chatted the link to you. If anyone in Zoom or if anyone else sees it, feel free to send it out to them. But yes, you of course can bring your SimplTrack3 directly into Hive. You can see we are bringing in all sorts of different cameras. I think we have 6 different cameras all brought into Hive. We now have Hive Link's support for our Move series of cameras, our 1080p PTZ cameras, and of course our Move and Link cameras as well. And also our fixed frame cameras, the studio cameras. That's a Studio 4K fixed frame camera, comes in 12 and 20x. So I think that gives a kind of overview. I don't have to go too deep into Hive, but I want to jump back to the web interface just to look and see if there's any sort of nuance or features that I'm missing. Something I haven't really gone into is showing off our zones, even creating the zones and how the process works a little bit. And then we'll get to that awesome giveaway and open it up to any of the questions you might have. So here is your automation tab. So you have your standard dashboard tab, which is going to have obviously your preview of your image. You can focus, zoom. You even now have these really smart little intelligent speed presets, which I really love. I think making it easier for someone to jump in and control these settings, it's way easier than just a sliding bar. I think it adds a little bit more nuance there. You can also name your presets, which is really cool. So you can easily use this and name it however you'd like. That's really exciting. If you have a Move 4K, look into Horizon if you want to name your presets. Give a big shout out to Horizon, our new web interface for the Move and Link 4K, available in beta if you go to our beta program. Of course, you have all your standard image settings that you're used to from PTZOptics, your image and exposure, your color settings, and of course your focus, and then your advanced settings, which gets into a little bit more of the flipping your image or mirroring your image if you need that. So let's go back.
Those of you that have come to know and love the SimplTrack series of cameras that we've had for over the years, the one thing that we did bring to the SimplTrack3 is in that dashboard view, you can now color correct the reference lens.
Yes.
That was something that was not available before. Now we can tune this a little better to match the PTZ lens, and you can truly use it as a secondary output stream.
Yeah, it's incredible that you're able to do that and you're able to kind of even switch. So I'll show that right here too as well, where you can even switch between the different video feeds. So if you just want to focus on just the PTZ view, you can switch and do that as well. If you want to go to just the reference lens, you can view that as well. You can even remove the zones really easily like that, or show both at the same time, which I think really shows the dual lens technology when you have them both side by side. So it's pretty simple how you apply and remove these zones. So if you want to remove them or show them, it's obviously that button. If you want to add in like a new blocking zone, for instance, you just click the blocking zone and you add it directly onto the screen, just like that.
So flexible.
So John, you want to show them how to remove a zone once drawn?
Yes. So you can click on a zone. It'll be highlighted like that. And then you can hit delete on your keyboard to remove a zone. So just like that, you click onto a zone and you can click to remove it. So I'll remove all of them, even though we spent a lot of time setting this up and a lot of hard work here.
Press apply, and then change the zone.
And then switch zones, exactly.
Yep, there you go, that you want to edit.
So if you want to select a certain zone or move a zone, you have to be selected on the exact zone itself. So all of our tracking zones gone. Let's switch to the preset zone. We can click on that preset zone and delete these awesome zones that we created.
Wow.
Now that's where you can go in and you really can start to create those zones like we did before. So we have our preset zone created, and then you can go into your settings. If you want to adjust any sort of tracking sensitivity or tracking options, that's where we removed it from tracking only inside the reference zone. Now you can track it outside the reference zone entirely. And then actions is where you're going to set up those finer details, right? This is where you're going to put in those HTTP commands. And what are the other commands that you can also use as well, Josh?
Visco UDP and TCP. But additionally, without the need for an API, if you just need a basic preset recall, you can use I think it's set preset there at the bottom, and drive the camera to the location. So when you step in that zone, and that's how we set up the whiteboard zone. So we were able to draw the box around the whiteboard. Then we went in there and defined exactly where we wanted the camera to point to when we enter that zone.
So I saw someone was just controlling it. It seems like someone might be in Hive controlling the SimplTrack3 already. It's always a fun gamble when you throw a link out to everybody. But yeah, feel free to play around, mess around. I think I hit pretty much everything. Obviously, you have your standard NDI settings, your individual network settings where you can go in and change your IP config to DHCP or a static. And of course, you have your streaming settings because, of course, like all of our PTZ cameras, you can stream directly from this hardware. So you just enter in your URL and your stream key. Is that another question there? Could you read that for me? From
Does
Zoom.
the reference camera work for tracking while it's used as a second feed?
Yes, it does. So the camera will decide what is best for which settings and case scenario, whether it uses the reference view for its tracking capabilities or it uses the PTZ. But even though you're calling the reference view in your video feed, it is still using it as part of its tool set to create a tracking environment.
All right. Do we have time for trivia, John?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we should open it up. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. If not, we'll jump into some trivia.
We've been doing trivia the past few times. It's a really fun way to see who knows their stuff, who's been paying attention.
Is trivia across us or across the
Well,
audience?
I want to see what you think about these questions, Josh, because John put a lot of time into this.
You didn't run any of these by me first.
Well, they might be obvious to you, but I think to our audience, we'll see.
They're pretty easy. We try to be light on them. We try to be light.
So Mike's going to go ahead and share the crowd per screen so that everyone you can just scan the QR code. We're going to give everybody about 60 seconds.
Yeah, we'll give them about 30 seconds. And then each question you have about 30 seconds to answer that question. And remember, this is a game of speed. Of course, you need to be accurate and speedy. So the faster you answer the question, the more points you're allotted. So the most points by the end of the 10 questions gets yourself a Hive license. So you can use Hive Studio yourself.
Woohoo. All right. So we're going to give everybody, okay, we got 3 players in. So I'm going to give everybody a little more time. This is your chance to shine, to show your stuff. It's fun because you see people go up and down in their leaderboard and stuff like that. I've been a big fan of this. We used to do this on the Stream Geeks channel a lot. And now we're bringing it to the post show. So here we go. Okay. Looks like people are shuffling in. So
ready to start it?
I am ready, John. If you think we're ready.
I think we're ready. You can always catch up. We're going to have a countdown to go before this starts. So it gives you a little bit more time. So as soon as this counts down, it'll go right to question number 1. And remember, speed is key. Speed is key. So, Josh, while we're waiting, did I miss anything about the SimplTrack3?
No, I think that was a really good overview of the entire SimplTrack3.
Great. Awesome.
I hope to hear some customer feedback through all of our channels that we're offering and maybe see about making some improvements that I've overlooked during the design phase of this product.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. I think it's a good opportunity to say congrats as well for becoming the head of our hardware. I think that's an awesome thing that we're starting to really strengthen and lift people up.
I couldn't do any
in
of
this
it
company.
without my team, and I can't praise them enough.
You, Jeff, Alex, John, everyone's great. All right, question number 1. What software tool is used to configure the SimplTrack3? I'm sorry if you get this wrong. You were just not watching this You were just not watching.
Is it A, OBS Studio, B, the new web interface, or C, Final Cut Pro? One of my favorite things is there's this button called Show the Live Answers. And the majority of people, I think, got this one right, John.
22% of
OBS
people were
Studio.
not paying attention.
Now let's see what the leaderboard says. Christian McLennan. It's a little cut off there, but Christian is in first, followed by Chad, who won previously, Carlos Morera.
All right.
And-
Question number 2. What do preset zones do?
Is it A, automatically zooms into a subject in the room? B, triggers an HTTP command, or C, streams pre-recorded content?
That could be very
Hey,
useful.
it's streaming industry relevant. Oh, what could it be? Let's
could
see
it
what the
be?
live results are. A lot of people think it automatically zooms into a subject.
Interesting.
Triggers an HTTP command. What could it be? The correct answer is actually triggering an HTTP command.
And as you mentioned, a lot more.
And a lot more. Yes.
UDP.
Almost a trick
TCP.
question there, John. But I'll give it to you.
Question number 3. Which environment is the SimplTrack3 best suited for?
Is it A, an outdoor sports broadcast? B, classrooms and conference rooms? C, underwater filming? If it's underwater filming, we did not do a good job in this presentation.
Oh, you missed the aquarium we set up?
I
in
would
the-
love to fill the studio with water.
That would be fun. All right. Everybody got that one right.
Great job. All right. Question number 4. How is the SimplTrack3 typically mounted?
Is it A, ceiling or wall mounted? B, tripod only, or C, a shoulder rig?
But just remember, we also didn't do share your vision, Mike. So prepare yourself
Oh.
after trivia. I want to show off some of the
How did
cool
we forget
workflows
Oh, that's
we
my
did.
fault because I was supposed to cover that.
Oh, it's okay. I'm all turned around. It's fine.
Okay. It is ceiling mount or wall mount. Good job. All right, let's show the leaderboard real quick. We got Jamie Slee in first. Good job. Albert Holden and Chris White. Chad Burton moves into fourth. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. Question number 5. What is a key benefit of using the SimplTrack3 in education settings?
High speed slow-mo recording. B, automated lecture capture without a camera operator, or C, virtual reality integration? It's a good question. Let's see the results coming in. 97% getting this right. One person rushing and getting it wrong. Yes.
And the leaderboard, Jamie is still in first.
Followed by Albert and Chris.
All right. On to question
It
number
always
6.
goes up and down. The leader never stays there. Let's see. Which connectivity option is supported by the SimplTrack3? USB-C, HDMI, or SDI? Which connectivity option is supported by the SimplTrack3?
Is supported. Remember, you may not know this, but maybe there can be more than one right answer.
Oh, there could be more than one right
Maybe there's a
answer.
trick question here.
Oh.
Maybe we give you an easy question and
Oh my
make it a little tricky for
gosh.
everybody.
Look at that.
Aren't you supposed to have the questions with the little box that you check for those ones?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
always tricky over here, though.
We got to add a
and
little
Albert
challenge.
jumps into the lead. by
Jamie's
just
screaming right now.
2 points. Sorry,
Uh,
Jamie.
Question number 7. What technology does the SimplTrack3 use for tracking?
Is it A, GPS-based tracking, B, IR beam detection, or C, AI-powered facial and motion tracking? Turns out it is AI-powered facial and motion tracking.
Congrats. Let's see the leaderboards. And Chad B.
jumps in.
Congrats, Chad. I'm taking first. On to question number 8.
What output resolutions does SimplTrack3 support? Up to 4K, 720p only, or up to 1080p 60? Let's see. This one's could be tricky.
Yeah, a little bit of a tricky question in there.
Oh, look at that. I told you. A lot of people think this is a 4K camera.
Unfortunately, it maxes out at 1080 60.
Boom.
but it has 2 lenses.
62% of our audience believe it was a 4K camera. I don't know if we covered that.
I
enough.
was thinking that myself. I don't know if we
I
mentioned that.
probably mentioned
It was in the slide, but I don't know if you
said it
spoke
out loud. Yeah.
This is very revealing to us, by the way. Thank you so much for participating, everyone. It lets us know how we're doing with our communication.
All right, on to question number 9. What type of lens does the SimplTrack3 feature?
Is it a fixed wide angle lens, a 20x PTZ with optical zoom, or a 12x PTZ with optical zoom?
Don't get tricked again. That's all I'll say. Don't get tricked.
Could be
John,
multiple choice.
being tricky with
Don't get
these.
tricked again.
Let's see what the live answers say. 75% getting this right. I think you mentioned it a couple times, John, that there was a 20x. So it was a double.
It was a double answer because it has 2 lenses.
I
Tricky,
feel like you gotta
tricky.
let people know if it's a double.
Tricky. We got to keep it fresh. We got to keep them on their feet.
And Ray jumps into first. Chris White jumps into second, and Jeffrey Heron jumps in.
All righty, and ready for the last question, number 10. What are the correct zones for the SimplTrack3?
Is it A, tracking, blocking, and trigger zones? Is it B, tracking, blocking, and preset zones? Or C, tracking, practice, and framing zones?
All right, you have 13 seconds to win. Who's going to be the winner? Let's check. Ooh, it's a close one again. And the winner is... Let's see.
Congratulations to the winners. Oh, Chad
Be
at
in
third
third place.
place. A previous winner, by the way. Good job, Chad. Chris White in second. That could only leave our first place winner, Ray Shao. Congratulations,
Congrats, Ray. Well, please reach out to us, throw your email to us, or reach out directly and give us your email so we can send you that Hive license so you can get started with remote production, local camera control, everything that Hive offers. A lot of exciting stuff. Don't forget, SimplTrack3 is a 1080p, 60 FPS, dual lens, smart tracking camera. And that's what we've been talking about. But before you go and before we say goodbye to everyone, I want to talk about Share Your Vision. So something we do here at PTZOptics, we love working with our wonderful end users. We want to see how they're using our cameras, our controllers. So use on any social media site, #ShareYourVision, and we will find you. We'll take those images and we'll share them to all you beautiful people watching live today. We want to thank everyone for doing this. And let's look at what we have from Mike Amen today. So he actually works with a lot of different youth teams. So it's some baseball, some swimming. So I wanted to show this off because he's using multiple cameras, and he's using a fixed Panasonic camera, which is this kind of like top-down mounted angle camera. But then when you get to the finish line, the first angle that was just shown, that's actually the Studio 4K camera. So you can see the color accuracy. I think it happens after they get back to the other side of the swim meet. But when they get back to the other side, you'll see the Studio 4K shot, and it's got great color. He said immediately that he noticed a difference between his Panasonic 4K Handycams and from his Studio 4K camera. So thank you, Mike Amen, for sharing some of this awesome footage that you guys have been using when you bring out your PTZ cameras. And there's that awesome Studio 4K shot.
Look at how crisp it is. And
Yeah.
you look so crisp when that camera was on you, by the way.
Yes.
John's close-up camera was also the Studio 4K.
Exactly. Yep. I've been using the Studio 4K right here on my desk the whole show. So if that looked great to you, check out our fixed frame camera, the Studio 4K. So stay tuned for more. Thank you guys for joining PTZOptics Live. Thank you, Paul. And thank you, Josh, for joining us from the product team today.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.